The gathering music was I Believe, I Belong, sung by our Spirit Choir, led today by Cassie Norton. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to our neighborhood Unitarian Universalist congregation. Thank you for joining us, whether you are here in person, watching us on Zoom, or listening to a recording of the service. If you are joining us for the first time, you are welcome here, as is anyone seeking a spiritual community. Our mission here at Neighborhood is to empower spiritual growth and shared action for the care of our world. My name is Peter Marmorek. And I have the pleasure of being your service weaver this morning. If you're here in person, please remember to be aware of the various needs and boundaries of one another while we're gathered together, honoring the mask-required seating area, keeping the aisles clear for mobility devices, which I'm not doing a good job of at this moment, and only taking photos with permission. We're a community of many ages and abilities, which means we don't just tolerate, we embrace whatever little noises or distractions come along with being together. We are committed to a love that makes space for all. However, having said that, if you have a phone or other device that might make noise, this would be a good moment to silence it, unless it's needed in order to participate in the service. Our services usually run about 90 minutes long, so if there's anything you need to make yourself comfortable in that service, fidgeting, getting up to go to the washroom, standing, stretching, getting a glass of water, feel free to do so. That includes going into the wiggle room, which is over there, which is a place where there's some toys and a comfy couch, and you can hear what's going on but not be heard. As well, the activity table over there has art supplies and a kinetic sandbox. If you're new here and would like to keep in touch, there's a newcomer card in the back of the seat in front of you, which you can fill out with your contact information and leave it in the collection offering plate, which we'll pass around later in the service. Whoever you are, whatever your relationship to belief, spirituality, or this community, we're really glad to see you here today. Now it's time to greet your neighbors. After you've greeted a few neighbors, you can turn to the camera that's shining from the back wall and greet those who are joining us virtually, whether in the present on Zoom or in the future via recording. There'll be a chime to signal the end of the greeting time. Now, take a moment to greet your neighbors around you. Deep thanks to our chime sounder, much appreciated. I start by acknowledging that the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation are the treaty holders of this land, and that the Wendat and Haudenosaunee Confederacy lived here before me and are living here now together with other First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. While Kalvin and I will talk today about many of the positive things about Unitarian Universalism, we also acknowledge that there was a Unitarian Indigenous residential school, the Montana Industrial School for Indians, unquote, and that too is part of our history. That makes me mindful of broken covenants and the need to strive to make right with all our relations, Omatakwiasan, sharing stories and telling the truth of this place. Now I invite you to join me in creating our own spiritual circle by reading our invocation, which is projected on screens all around us. Let us cast the circle of a sacred space here.
Let us cast the circle of a cherished space here, a space of safety, a place of forgiveness, a place of love. If we want the world to change, we must craft in our space and in ourselves the seeds that grow a different kind of life, a life of graciousness, of creative intelligence, a place of life and spirit for ourselves and our families.
Eat the mic. Want the mic? They want your mic up to your mouth.
Not when I'm reading the invocation. Otherwise, I drown out the rest of you. The chalice today will be lit by Gillian Newcomb. Instead of lighting it directly, Gillian takes the fire from the children's flame. This honors the vital part of our community in each child, and I include the inner child that each of us carries within us. Within our own hearts. And now it's time for our next song, Alive. We're very happy to welcome back Cassie Norton, who is guiding our spirit choir during Suzanne's sabbatical and who wrote the last song that you heard. In May, we're focusing on our sixth principle, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And our guest speaker is Kalvin Drake, a longtime friend of this congregation and a member of Toronto First, where he's held numerous leadership positions. He's also the past president of the Unitarian Congregations of Greater Toronto and the Canadian Unitarian Council. Kalvin will be talking about the spirit of love and justice at work in the world, looking at the good news of Unitarian Universalism and its future in Canada. As I thought about this, I became curious how religion is doing in Canada in general. Some research let me know it's declining rapidly. The non-religious population has more than doubled in the past 20 years, from 16.5 to 35%. The number of Canadians who've attended a religious service within the past month is half of what it was 40 years ago. Religion, in other words, is in crisis, but as an old saying puts it, crisis and opportunity are two sides of the same coin. Studies show that the primary reasons for this decline include discomfort with where religions stand on social political issues, particularly 2S LGBTQ+ issues, and a perception that churches are affiliated with conservative political movements. Crisis and opportunity. I know many of our congregants come here because their religion of origin didn't feed their spirit, and they hope that neighborhood might. I guess if you're here today, you're helping us to stay on the right track with that. And Kalvin will explore what the future calls for and how we might answer that call in our message. But now we get to hear our choir again.
Okay. I'm gonna count you guys in. Okay. So, 1, 2. Oh yeah, I wanted to tell you guys. Lots of sing-along parts. Chorus. I mean, you can sing whenever you want, but there's going to be this repeated part. No one owns the earth or home, and you'll hear lots of people in the choir will be singing that, and it's a nice thing to sing along with. So, okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Not I'm much shorter. Good morning, everyone. It's time for all ages now. Okay. So I've got a little story, and you'll notice that you've got papers on your chairs. That's got a purpose. You've also got pens. They should be in the little pocket in the chair in front of you. And choir, do you have pens? If not, I can get you pens. I thought perhaps you might have them. They should be, right? Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's begin our little story, shall we? So, the room buzzed softly with nervous laughter. As everyone stared at the blank pieces of paper in their hands. Some people tapped their pencils against the chairs. Others folded and unfolded the page before they even wrote a word. In the middle of the room stood Kat with one simple question. What is the most important and most integral part of UU to you? The facilitator Kat smiled. Sometimes we're just bursting with excitement to share our thoughts with others, they said. So today, we're going to throw our thoughts at others. Quite literally. A few people laughed. Actually, everybody laughed. So write your answers. Don't put your name on it. Just write your truth. So again, the question is, what's the most important and most integral part of UU to you? I'll repeat it again. What is the most important and most integral part of UU to you. I'll give you a couple seconds here. And when most folks are done, then I will go on to the next part because it's more fun when everyone's done. All right, this next part is going to go fast. When everyone finished, they crumpled their papers into tight snowballs. Ready? The facilitator asked. 3, 2, 1. Suddenly, the room exploded into flying papers and a snowball fight exploded. Snowballs bounced off shoulders, rolled under chairs, filled the air with laughter. For a moment, nobody knew whose thoughts belonged to whom. They were just humans fleeing, floating everywhere with thoughts. Then, here is the most important part. Everybody picked up one piece of paper. All right, so hopefully everybody's got a piece of paper. If you don't, you can share one with your friend beside you. Oh, we're going snowball fighting over here. Okay. All right, so everybody picked up a snowball. That's great. So one by one, people opened the crinkled and wrinkled pages and read them aloud. So I'm going to choose a couple people. Whoever wants to read the one that they have, you can raise your hand, and then you can say it aloud. We'll go one by one. Okay. Connection and belonging. Community and gathering together. Activism.
UU teaches us that we are all important.
That we are all important. Welcoming space to everyone. Community. Oh, inclusive community, sorry.
Diversity and intergenerational.
Ooh, diversity and intergenerational.
Spiritual home with every door open to change and fresh revelation.
That was very clearly read, so I won't read that again. Very well done.
Unity and peace.
Oh. Camaraderie and music. Togetherness. Kindness. And we'll do one more.
The possibility of unity and diversity.
Possibility of unity and diversity. I think that pretty much sums it up. Oh, okay, we'll do one last one. Last one. Compassion and empathy. That's a beautiful way to close it up. And so to end this snowball fight, something strange happened. The room didn't feel so lonely anymore. Just a congregation of many thinking together as one. And that is the closing of our Time for All Ages. And now it is the children's recessional, so if you will please follow me, children and youth, whoever would like to follow me into the Rainbow Room.
was wonderful. And nobody lost an eye. Well, good morning, everyone. Is the sound good to hear, Gordon? No? Closer? Kiss the mic. Kiss the mic. Thank you for inviting me to speak this morning. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, those of us that have mothers, and of course, blessed be to the mother of us all. It's a privilege to be asked to speak to you this morning and to be a longtime friend of the congregation, and especially these last few years to have the opportunity to work with you more closely. This month's theme, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, is precisely what it says, a goal. But how do we make that goal a reality? What role is each of us called to play in living out our UU values, both as individuals and in our communities, in a way that is truly transformative? In short, how can we be the spirit of love and justice at work in the world? It's a huge topic, and we only have time to look at a couple of aspects, and specifically to ask what is uniquely ours to offer. Sadly, I don't have all the answers, but I do have some of the questions. We can only find meaningful solutions if we work on this collaboratively. What do we have to offer? Well, let's start with an easy question. What is Unitarian Universalism anyway? An easy question, right? How many of you here today have done the elevator speech exercise? Where you're asked to describe Unitarian Universalism in the short ride down in the elevator. Of course, the only time we do that is if we're at the CN Tower, or if we're downtown and just pray that the lift breaks down at floor number 12. Why is it so difficult? Well, we go to church on Sundays. We sing hymns from a hymn book. We have ministers and chaplains. We have religious education. The vocabulary we use comes directly from Christian denominations. And that's not to say it's a bad thing, but it is misleading. Right after coming out of all this, we kind of have to then backpedal. Well, it's a church, but it's not a regular church. And we sing hymns, but really we change the words. And religious education isn't always religious. You know, we like to talk to children about sex. And of course, we put an idea into someone's mind, and then we have to say, we're not that. It's kind of like how we as Canadians describe ourselves as not being American. Not surprising that we're confused. Sometimes we're frustrated and disappointed that new people don't find us right away. Sometimes I'm surprised that people do find us, despite how sometimes we make it difficult. Clearly, the vocabulary of organized religion is not serving us well. This reminds me of the fable, I'm sure most of you have heard, where a group of blindfolded people are presented with an elephant. Each one of us perceives, in fact feels, this elephant in our own individual and peculiar way. Is it a snake? Is it a tree trunk? Is it a wall? We know that behind this, the truth is the elephant is what it is, but manifests itself in different ways to each and every individual. So, what if the same was true for Unitarian Universalism? We struggle describing Unitarian Universalism using vocabulary of traditional religion, but is UUism a religion? I learned actually not to ask that question, particularly when there's ministers in the room, and that's one of the reasons why I'm being put far away from Sally. In truth, really what I'm asking is, we know our faith has a long and proud heritage stemming right back to the Enlightenment. But is it still a religion? Is it only a religion? We're lucky today, actually, to have people that have actually created Unitarian Universalism in the room today. And they're sitting right next to you. Each and every one of us has crafted and continues to craft Unitarian Universalism into something wonderfully unique. It's not always comfortable. In fact, sometimes it can be downright challenging. But it is our own chosen faith. Is anyone born Unitarian Universalists? Do people actually convert? Rather, we independently develop our own understanding of all things physical and metaphysical, and then we stumble on this thing called Unitarian Universalism, and we see our values and insights reflected back to us. And it continues to be created by every human soul that asks the questions, the fundamental questions, and discovers answers for themselves. Many of you may have heard that until the merger in 1961, the American Unitarian Association and the Universalist Church of America were independent Christian denominations. Historically, both denominations were created and named around specific religious dogma. In the case of the Unitarians, the belief in the unity of the Godhead and, consequently, the humanity of Jesus. In the case of the Universalists, a belief in a loving God who would not sentence anyone to eternal hell and damnation. So what did the union of these two Unitarian and Universalist statement of faith look like when they were brought together? Absolutely nothing. Because there was no joint statement of faith. Now that might have been a frustrated compromise, or it might have been a brilliant new transcendent theology. I think it's a bit of both. In fact, the term Unitarian Universalism didn't exist before 1961. In fact, Unitarian Universalist was created first, simply to give a name to this new creature that was being invented. Like many corporate entities that come together and merge, they create the name by adding the names of the partners. Just like those law firms that every time they get a new partner, the name gets longer, longer, and longer. So folks, we may be the only religion that's named after a corporate merger. While I do have a deep and sincere love of the heritage of both our Unitarian and Universalist traditions, Unitarian Universalism just isn't exactly easy to roll off the tongue. So we're left without a statement of faith. No clear defining theology. Unitarian Universalism is not like other religions, especially Western religions. We have no higher authority, no exalted deities and revealed text, no UU Pope. In his 2004 conference lecture at the CUC's annual meeting, now retired UU minister, Reverend Ray Drennan, describes this vacuum as the empty center of Unitarian Universalism. He presents it as the idea of a possibility, challenging us to name that which each of us hold to be sacred in our individual and in our collective lives. Something that inspired me and challenged me is this wonderful poster that I'm sure a lot of you have seen. about the golden rule expressed in the words of the world's different religions. And given our small numbers in the actual word, I was really pleased to see Unitarian Universalism included on this poster. But then I kind of stepped back and thought, you know what? Actually, this poster is something that we would create as Unitarian Universalists and could even be used to describe this congregation. Each of us finding the path that speaks to us individually. Something that transcends individual faith expressions, but encourages each of us independently and collectively for spiritual growth and shared action for the caring of the world. Sound familiar? UUism is not a mass market, prefabricated plastic doll's house. It provides the insight and the tools for each of us to build individual path of discovery and deep connection, and inspires us to take action. The conclusion for me is that UUism is quite different from other religions. It operates at a different level. It's a framework and a toolkit for creating deeply personal meaning-making. We can label it a philosophy, spirituality, or religion. So when directly asked the question, is Unitarian Universalism a religion? My answer is, yes it is, for some, but for all of humanity who have discovered UUism, and for those that have yet to, it is a meta-religion. Something that is used to create individual means of making. Peter, earlier on today, gave us a little bit of background to what's happening in the world of religion. We live in volatile times. We've seen the numbers reflecting of the decline in formal religiosity and of the increased distrust that people have in organized religion. However, reportedly, 20% of Canadians aged 18 to 30 identify as spiritual but not religious. As we know, the very nature of community is changing. Our institutional structures and processes are transient, and we've come to realize that social action is more effectively performed by specialized agencies focused on a particular area rather than just the general charity of religious bodies. Going to jump ahead to slide 32, please. Our current perspective is to put these actions into words, is to think about how we come together in our UU communities. Are we okay there, Gordon? There we go. Thank you very much. Our perspective of the world, as we look at it from here in the congregation, is that we're part of a solar system. We come together, we organize as independent congregations to create this entity we call the Canadian Unitarian Council. It's a council of equals. There is no head office. We might consider that this is our CUC sphere of influence. When we look beyond the CUC sphere into the wider world, we recognize that there are others out there who call themselves UUs, but may not call themselves that, but have very similar values. We have what we call the affiliated communities, entities such as CUSJ, the Canadian Unitarians for Social Justice. we have UMOC, the UU Ministers of Canada, that are, again, independent communities, not directly tied into the CUC. And we tend to think of these together as being the core of our faith. But we've learned that there are other expressions of Unitarian Universalism. Some of you may subscribe to the UU Hysterical Society online, fabulous cartoons. There's a minister in Kingston that has a program called Soulful Singing, a ministry dedicated to the practice of singing in community. Young adults, we know, prefer to gather and worship in different ways. There is not one expression of UUism, and it's not all in the walls of these congregations. Finally, we have kindred spirits. Those people out there that definitely don't have the label of UU, but certainly share many of our shared values. We must acknowledge that, that being in interdependent relationship with these entities, we can no longer place ourselves at the center of our universe. We are faced with the opportunity and the challenge of shifting our perspective much wider. We've learned that Unitarian Universalism is expressed in many forms beyond our traditional congregations, and even more so in the future. Moreover, many of our congregations are themselves adapting, attracting different populations in different ways. From what we have learned, it's time to shift the center of gravity of Unitarian Universalism to a model that is more diverse and diffuse, in the hope that we can be more prolific, expanded into a UU sphere of influence. Shifting that center of gravity to incorporate those non-traditional UU expressions of the people in our midst and the people of the next generation. There are fuzzy edges of the sphere of influence with our kindred spirits, and this presents opportunities for collaborative projects, initiatives, and to share resources. It paves the way for a movement of passionate communities and individuals. We can work in concert with our kindred spirits. In fact, this congregation has been a prime example of that with the Danforth Multi-Faith Commons. Interestingly, it can become a challenge to decide how to engage in social action. When should the congregation go it alone? When should we work in collaboration with others who may have more resources and more specialization? And let's not forget that empowering and encouraging our members to become the embodiment of love and justice in their daily lives magnifies our impact in many and often subtle ways. We could lead in the creation of what I call the big U, to create that big tent, religious, spiritual, and humanist, liberal progressives, all under the same social pressures, working in union. Unitarian Universalism is an exacting meaning-making framework. It reveals itself to us in many unique ways. It can manifest as a worldview and a moral philosophy, spirituality, and, yes, a religion. But when we turn and look around, we see there are dozens of people, each shining their own way, looking back at us. We are each called to take full ownership and responsibility for our place in the web. No one else can stand in our place. Yet we are held in the communion of all beings, not just human beings, the communion of life. This congregation stands out in its commitment to spiritual growth and action for the care of this world. I feel blessed to have shared this time with you, and I can't think of a better way of closing this time than by sharing the artwork of one of neighborhood's creative talents, our Lauren Renzetti. Indeed, we are all interconnected. Thank you, and blessed be.
Now it's time for another song. Now it's time for meditation. I'm indebted to Kalvin for sharing this Pink Floyd lyric. No more turning away from the weak and the weary. No more turning away from the coldness inside. Just a world that we all must share. It's not enough just to stand and stare. Is it only a dream that there'll be no more turning away? Notice how the lyric talks of turning away from both the outside and the inside. Perhaps we can't ignore what calls us to action for other people except by ignoring the voice inside of us that knows what we should do. So for a few minutes, meditate on what we might do to turn towards rather than turning away. In a few minutes of silence, find the places where that might happen. Think how it might. This congregation is very much a living thing with joys and concerns, as we've just heard. Like all living things, it needs nurture and sustenance, and that's where you come in. We will pass the baskets around, and we are grateful for your generosity. If you have found love and acceptance here, if you've found a home here, if you've known kindred spirits here, this offering is a token of your gratitude for our common life as together we build a common good. Greeters, please place the baskets in front of the lectern when the money is collected. Now, it's time for Life of the Community, or to be more accurate, a brief sample of the life of the community, because there's a lot more going on which you can read in our weekly newsletters. Ministerial transitions, questions and answers. Questions about neighborhood reconnecting with Reverend Wayne Walder. Reverend Sally and members of the transitions team have their answers. That's a Zoom meeting, Thursday, May 14th, this coming Thursday. A multi-faith potluck dinner and conversation with two visiting Heart to Heart youth. Heart to Heart was at Neighborhood earlier, and very powerful group doing wonderful work, bringing together young Palestinians and young Israelis to talk across the divide. That's Friday, May 15th, 6 p.m., next Friday, in this room. The Warbler Walk. 9 a.m. next Saturday. It's being led by Steve, the man over there. Meet at Leslie Spit, the entrance to Tommy Thompson Park, and wearing good footwear, long pants, binoculars, and we'll learn about early spring bird migration. Feedback on our services. This is important because it shapes what we will do in the next year. It's happening next Sunday after the service here in Rafos Hall. There will be food. What are your favorite and least favorite parts of services at Neighborhood? What topics, themes, rituals, or practices do you dream of experiencing in future services? We want to hear from you. That's after the joint service with EEU next Sunday. Come back here and we'll do the town hall meeting. Dances of Universal Peace, a Saturday night movement service, is taking place on Saturday, May 30th, starting at 6:30, going till 10 o'clock with social time and free dance. There'll be facilitation, music, and service weaving, and you can read more about that in the mailings and in the couple of weeks before it happens. Add a flower to our collaborative art project. Your flower should be as big as the palm of your hand and can be made of any sturdy material. Pin your flower to the green backing before May 24th. and the completed project will be unveiled at our flower celebration service, flower communion service, on May 31st. I didn't mention that if you're interested in coming to the meeting across the divide, you need to register for that. Next Sunday will be a combined interfaith service. The message is the music of Carolyn McDade. The speaker is Reverend Sally. Music by Stephen Ermel. Service weaver Julia Newcomb. And we will gather in the EEU sanctuary just down that hall. So if you come here next Sunday and you find the place is completely empty and you're really puzzled as to what happened, that's the answer. And as always, the Cappuccino Room screen will have more details, as will the Friday email, and you can scan the QR code to get signed up to get our weekly mailings. And now for our closing song.
So this is a song you guys, I think you guys have sung before, by my friend Nigel Marie. And yeah, so we're revisiting it.
Doesn't matter whether you're rich or old.
And I invite Jillian to come up and extinguish the chalice as we sing. And I invite you to take your neighbor's hand or touch their shoulders, whatever you're comfortable with, connecting physically as we have spiritually. And I leave you with this blessing in the spirit of Nigel's song, Better Day. May you be gifted with limitless creativity in challenging broken systems, and the wisdom to know that true revolution is lived through love, compassion, and the dedication of your own life. Our circle is now open. Go in peace and love.
We are fighting for a better